There are two situations where the remote activation and release of a license is required. The first is if your computer cannot make direct contact with the license server, or if you are working in a purely offline environment. Here I will demonstrate how to manage a license in both of these situations. So, the first scenario is when the computer does have access to the internet via a web browser, but can't communicate directly with the server. In this case, when FlowLogic is launched, the remote activation license window will automatically open. Here, the instructions will outline generating a fingerprint that identifies the computer, submitting this fingerprint to the license activation website, and the subsequent generation of a license key, which can be imported into FlowLogic to activate the license. To generate the fingerprint, simply type in your username and then click Generate, and the fingerprint will be displayed in the window below. If this is the first time that you have run FlowLogic and you have yet to create a username, then this can be done by running FlowLogic on a computer that isn't behind the current firewall. Alternatively, please contact tech support. Now that the fingerprint has been generated, click on the Automatically Upload Fingerprint via Internet button. This will open the Remote License Activation website and insert the newly created fingerprint. To generate the key, simply click Submit. The license key, being the flowlogic.key file, will download automatically, and then the next step is to import this into FlowLogic. This is done by clicking the Import FlowLogic Key button, selecting the key file, and clicking Open. And the activation process is now complete. The license itself can be checked by clicking FlowLogic and About, and here you can see the username and the expiration date. To release the license remotely, click the License menu and choose Remote Release. This will open the Remote Release window and automatically generate a fingerprint, which can be sent to the Remote Release website by clicking the Automatically Upload Fingerprint via Internet button. Then, simply submit the fingerprint to release the license. Upon returning to FlowLogic, when the Remote Release window is closed, FlowLogic itself will quit. The second scenario is when there is no internet connection, with the difference in the remote activation and release of the license being that the generated fingerprint is transferred to a different computer that is online. So here, if I launch FlowLogic without a license or internet connection, the remote activation window opens automatically. Again, to generate my fingerprint, I type in my username and click Generate. The unique fingerprint will then be displayed in the window below. However, instead of sending it automatically to the license activation website, I firstly need to copy it or save it in order to transfer it. So here, if I choose to export the fingerprint, I can choose a location and a name for my new fingerprint file. This fingerprint is now ready to be transferred to a computer that is online, either via a network or an external drive. But before doing so, take note of the license activation website. So here I have the fingerprint saved to the desktop of a different computer. If I double click, you can see the code. Now if I open a browser and type in the web address for the remote license activation site, I can then copy the license key in order to paste it into the code window of the website. And once you click Submit, the license key will automatically be generated and downloaded. This file now needs to be transferred back to the computer running FlowLogic. Back in FlowLogic, click on the Import FlowLogic Key button in the Remote Activation window, locate the newly created key, and click Open. This will activate the license and FlowLogic is ready to use. To check the license, click on FlowLogic and About FlowLogic, and here again you can see the username, license type, and the expiration date. In order to release a license when offline, from the License menu, choose Release License or Remote Release. FlowLogic will then ask you to remember your username. After choosing whether or not to save your analysis, the Remote Release window will open. This will display a unique fingerprint, which needs to be copied or exported. Also take note of the remote license release web address that is listed in the remote release window. When the fingerprint is saved, FlowLogic will close. Then, transfer the fingerprint to a computer that is online. Navigate to the remote license release website. Open the fingerprint file so that it can be viewed. Copy the fingerprint and then paste it into the code window inside the website. Finally, click Submit and the license will be released.